What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We are live. It is Monday. We are 10 days away from the 2026 NFL Draft. Can't wait for that. Got a lot planned for you guys for draft night. Big week 2, by the way, here at Chat Sports. This Thursday, we will be live for a company-wide mock drafts. There will be trades. So how about that? You guys let me know right now. Should I try to trade up or trade down in the draft? Let me know. I think most people would say trade down. You can also let us know where you're tuning in from. But going to be a fun week. We're going to be working the phones over the next few days. So, yeah, excited to run that back this year.
Without giving up any names, have you or have you not received any calls from any other chats?
I have not gotten any calls yet.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I might reach out to some Chat Sports GMs tomorrow, but I feel like trading down is something I would prefer. So, but to do that, you got to find someone who's willing to trade up. So maybe I reach out to some QB needy teams if they want to trade up for Simpson or something like that. But
I think I might know who you might be calling here soon. Maybe.
There could be one sitting at our table. There could be one sitting at the table to the right of me. We'll see. We'll work the phones. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm thinking if I do trade up, maybe it's like trade up in the second round, where it's like you trade up to like the 40s from 57 or 60. That was kind of my thought. Get a player at 25, trade up to secure someone you want in the 40s. We'll see. Got a few days here.
We shall see. Shout out to everybody tuning in the chat. We got Tyler from Chino Valley, Arizona. Ryder from Goodyear, Arizona. We got Michael from Seattle, Washington. We got Earlville from Eric. We got Gulf Breeze, Florida from WF. We got Danville, Illinois from Cameron.
Giovanni, since I was born in 93, no, I cannot claim that. So jealous for you lifelong Bulls fans that were alive in the 90s. And I also pity the folks who didn't get to experience that and have experienced the Bulls the last 15 years because it's been a rough go for you guys. So
new era, though.
New era. AK's out. Maybe Bulls are turning the page here. We'll see. See what happens. But they should have done this like 3 years ago, but better late than never. So we'll see. Okay, something I want to talk about because the Bears seem to be interested in like these hybrid nickel safety types, like the Treydan Stukes. Keionte Scott is visiting. So I just wonder if the Bears, if there's a world where they would move Kyler Gordon to safety. Now, those guys that they're meeting with could play safety as well, talking about Stukes and Scott. But I wonder if they draft one of those guys, if they would move Kyler Gordon to safety. And what would you guys think about it? Would you be okay with it? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It could be one of those deals where if they value the nickel position more in this defense than that second safety spot, would that actually lead one to believe moving him to safety is more viable just due to the fact that he has an injury history? So if he's your second safety and he misses time, you're not as concerned because maybe it's less of a chess piece than who you have at nickel. I'm not saying that's happening or that's what they're doing, and I think if they drafted one of those hybrids, they would probably just kind of like mix and match with Kobe Bryant, Kyler Gordon, and let's just say Keionte Scott. But it is an interesting thought, especially considering last year they said that they wanted to get Kyler Gordon snaps at safety before, the season kind of unraveled for him with all the injuries. So just something I've been kind of thinking about here in this pre-draft process, because there's like 4 dudes in this draft, Cullen, that are like these nickel safety hybrids. So if the Bears draft one of them, I'll be curious to see how they kind of mix and match in the back end.
Yeah, and I mean, it never hurts to have flexibility, to have versatility, and Kyler Gordon certainly provides that for Chicago. And if you, let's just use Keionte Scott as an example, if you've got him and Kyler Gordon able to be interchangeable, well, that can create a lot of different looks and mismatches and different kind of defensive looks that Dennis Allen can throw at opposing offenses. So it would almost behoove the Bears to add more of those guys that can be, to use a term that you used last week, positionless basketball in the back end where you have guys that can guard multiple positions, play in multiple spots, and it's not so reliant on one guy being healthy every week. And I think for the Bears, if you get that kind of flexibility with your slot and with your safety position, Kyler can certainly provide that. If you have two of those guys, that can really create some benefits for your team.
Yeah, I mean, Keionte Scott, who, we're going to talk about a ton about him today, but, he's a pretty interesting prospect because he had 5 sacks last year. He's like 5'10", 195, but 44-inch vert, ran a 4.33, played primarily slot at Miami, but he had 200 snaps in the box for the Hurricanes. So they played him near the line of scrimmage a lot. So it would just be interesting if they took a player like that, how they would deploy all these guys. So I do think the Bears are trying to not pigeonhole themselves with these guys that can only play one thing. I think they proved that with letting Brisker go for the price he got, right? I mean, if they thought Brisker was a guy who could do multiple things, I think they would have just paid him $5 million. But they opted not to do that. So, it is just kind of been playing on my mind. Like, they want these kind of just modern, interchangeable, hybrid athlete guys that can cover, that can play the run. If you watched Ohio State Miami in the playoffs, Scott is the guy that picked off that bubble screen for a touchdown, which basically changed that game. So he's very instinctive. He's a pretty interesting player. So I'm pretty fascinated by him, and I think in that 57 to 60 chunk, if he's sitting there, he could be an option for Chicago.
No doubt about it. We're doing a little mix-up with our segments today.
We are. We got a fun show. We're going to do our mailbag first. So what we're doing today is, if you have any questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We're going to do our mailbag off the top. You guys are usually firing questions out of the gates anyway, so get those questions in. And we owe you guys a fan-led mock draft because we had internet issues last Thursday. Apologies for that. So we're going to do that. I am going to react to Cullen's Bears mock draft. He's going to reveal draft crush number 18, draft crush number 19, and his 20th draft crush, just like last year, will be his prediction for who he has the Bears taking in the first round. So pretty interesting. We will get all that. I have not seen his mock draft today, so fascinated to see how that goes. Do you remember, by the way, I know you took Genty. Did you have him trading up, or did you have him falling to 10?
I had him falling to 10. I didn't do any trades last year.
Okay.
Just because wanted to keep it pretty standard. First time doing it.
Trying to remember, did you go back and look at yours last year? Did you get any picks for the Bears?
I don't believe I got any picks correct from that mock draft.
Okay.
But you never know. Throw enough darts at the wall, sometimes you might land something. But I do remember, because I remember I had them taking the tackle that went to the Texans. I'm blanking. He was one of your favorites last year.
Yeah. Gosh, why am I blanking? Ariante Ursery.
Ursery,
He might have been I think he was my most mocked guy to the Bears at 39.
Yeah.
Like, I mocked him to the Bears. It felt like every third draft.
Yeah, I had Tyleik Williams going. I also had Andrew Makuba, shout out, third round. I remember the main picks, but I don't think I got anybody on day 3, unfortunately. So
yeah, Makuba was one of your big draft crushes, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a big one.
So.
Hopefully comes back off the ankle injury because he was doing pretty good for Philadelphia. But regardless, that'll be coming up. In the meantime, though, we are going to be getting to y'all's questions. So anything, whether it's draft related, whether it's some free agents that are still out there, whether it's any questions about the roster, whatever the case may be, my guy Harry's got you covered. So use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get on your show. Like, for example, Alex, I think that's a great Super Chat that we can throw in on Mailbag.
Yeah, we'll sneak that in there. Super Chats will push you to the front of the show, and then we will get into other questions as well. So hashtag Bears Super Chat. Fire away. Let's load a few more in there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any, actually. No hashtag Bears questions yet.
Yeah, we just do. Should we just skip the mailbag today? No mailbag today. We'll just do Cullen's mock and call it a day. How about that? Couple coming in here. We got Mooneyham getting one in there.
Yep. Get that loaded in.
Owen says Kobe Bryant went from outside corner to free safety. Money shouldn't be an issue. Versatility and impact on the back end is what we need. Let's see. Ricky Sanchez, Eric Green, getting some questions in there. So
Get those
got a
loaded in.
few. Fire them in. Hashtag Bears Super Chat. And slower Super Chat flow today. So if you are a hashtag Bears person, a pretty good chance you'll get your question answered. So
No doubt.
get those in there like Cameron just did. And we'll get to as many of those as we can. Hit that like button as well. Let's get more Bears fans in here. Owen says, "Peep my comment at the beginning." I don't know what you said at the beginning, Owen, but
The beginning of the live.
beginning of the show. If it was the beginning of the show, that question's probably long gone.
Yeah. If you could copy and paste that and use hashtag Bears, I'll throw it in the mailbag.
He says, "What do you think of us getting one of these two defensive tackles, hidden gems, Zane Durant and Devin Eastern out of Minnesota?" I'm pretty familiar with Durant. Not as much with Eastern. I think Durant in like the 4th round would be pretty good. Durant in the 4th round would be pretty good. So if that was the question you were asking, fire away. All right, we got a good amount in there. Here we go. Live Q&A, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We'll get to the fan-led mock draft as well, and then we'll wrap up the show with Cullen's Bears mock draft. I'll just give my raw reaction. I have no idea who he picked, and he'll give his reasoning. I'll give my take, and we'll go pick by pick. So should be a lot of fun. Here we go. Bears Now live on a Monday. Get started right now. Time for a Bears Now mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. We kick things off with Sleeper Bear. He says, if the Bears draft Treydan Stukes or Keionte Scott, could Kyler Gordon move to safety, or will Stukes or Scott play safety? Well, it's pretty interesting because it seems like the Bears are interested in a couple of these safety nickel hybrid prospects, like Treydan Stukes, like Keionte Scott. Scott took a top 30 visit with the Bears on Monday. I have heard that they're interested in Stukes as well. Both older prospects, by the way. Stukes will be 25. Keionte Scott is 24. Both 6-year college players, so take that for note as well. But when you watch these guys move, when you watch these guys play, they're just explosive, man. They are really premier athletes. I mean, Scott with the 44-inch vert, low 4.3s in the 40. A little bit smaller, 5'10 and a half, between 5'10 and 5'11, under 200 pounds. Stukes is a little bit bigger of an athlete, definitely longer with his height and his arm length. Also tested extraordinarily well. As well. What's interesting, too, about both these guys is they're both willing to play the run and both did play the run a lot. Both were just under 200 snaps in the box this past year with their primary position in the nickel. So defending tight ends, kind of roaming around. And, you know, these two guys are very good fits to me for teams who want to just kind of play that positionless basketball in the secondary. And I think the Bears are kind of trending in that direction. Kobe Bryant, a converted corner that's played safety the last couple of years. We know Mike McDonald in Seattle, they're very kind of innovative and moving guys around in the back end. Kyler Gordon, I think we saw some of that when he did play this year, but, you know, he was an outside corner in college, came in, became one of the best nickels in the league. Dennis Allen, one of the first things he said was, yeah, we think he can give us some snaps at outside corner. We think he can give us some snaps at safety. So if you were to add a Scott or Stukes to that defense and you went Bryant, Gordon, and let's just say Keionte Scott, I think all three of those guys are pretty interchangeable players that can do different things for you. So, you know, in that 57 or 60 chunk, I'm not sure it matters who, quote, is penciled in at safety or nickel, but I definitely think all three of those guys could do different roles. So I'll ask you, would you be okay with Kyler Gordon at safety? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I don't think it would be like, hey, you're only playing this specific role. I think they would kind of mix and match those guys regardless, but I think the Bears could make that work. All right, some super chats here. Alex Amerling with the 5. Appreciate it. Saw we are hosting Keionte Scott today, right on cue. DA would love him. Yeah, I think it's the Bears, if you read the tea leaves, like they want these versatile chess pieces. And a lot of these modern defenses, you know, it's a combination of waves of pass rushers and defensive backs who are really athletic, that are A, willing to play against the run, and B, can do different things as coverage players. So I think Scott certainly is capable of that. Very explosive playmaker. So had 5 sacks last year. So he's a guy you can blitz as well, which I think we saw that with Dennis Allen last year. He would blitz Kyler Gordon when he played. He would blitz Jaquan Brisker. But a guy like Scott, Stukes, they can cover a little better than a guy like Brisker could. Posey Jones, what do you think about Jacob Rodriguez at 25? I don't hate it. Like, in a vacuum, I think he's worthy of a first-round selection. I think the Bears did enough in free agency where linebacker isn't a top need, but could that be a BPA pick? I think that's certainly possible. Now, Rodriguez's range varies among the draft community. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's worthy of a first-round pick in this draft. He's always around the football. He tested much better than people expected. I think if you drafted him and you went Rodriguez and Bush as your primary linebackers with DeMarco Jackson as your Sam linebacker who can also play both the other spots, that's a really athletic bunch that is known for getting the football, taking the football. Like, Rodriguez was a turnover machine at Texas Tech. Devin Bush last year had 3 interceptions. DeMarco Jackson was always around the ball and had I think a pick 6 as well in one of the games. So, and it would fit the boat of, hey, we're looking to get faster and more athletic on defense, and Rodriguez certainly provides that as well. Get yourself some merch. Chatsports.com/LB10 is where you can find our newest T-shirts here at Chat Sports. The Bear Claw Selly shirt available in black and in navy. Click and shop today. You'll also find a link to our entire collection once you do so. Link is in the live chat, comments, description. Get started right now. Chatsports.com/LB10. Mooneyham, do you think after the draft we pick up an edge? Well, I think it depends on what happens in the draft. If you draft an edge, I still think you could. It probably depends, is it an edge that's ready to contribute right away? How high did you take him? Did you take a flyer on day 3? If they get out of day 2 without an edge, I would say signing one after the draft, the chances increase exponentially. But if they could take a guy in the first or second round, I would say it's less likely only because, you still have Shamar Turner and Dio Adengbo coming back. You obviously have your 2 starters in Montez Sweat and Austin Booker as well. So if you take one of these guys in the top 60 with your 3 picks in the top 60, you go those 2 guys, your top 60 pick, Dio Adengbo and Shamar Turner. I mean, that's already 5 guys. So you could add another veteran edge, but, you would have to determine the money. Does that guy want a major role? Do you have room for a big role? So I think it does depend on the draft. All right, Bum of Wall Street, is there still hope to acquire either Crosby or Garrett? You never say never. Weirdly enough, I'd say Garrett's probably more likely right now. But I would not put a great chance for either. I think Dexter Lawrence is the name to watch across the league right now heading into the draft. If the Giants and Lawrence can't make the money work, I could see New York making him available. So we'll see. I'm not really holding my breath on any of those scenarios at this point, but these talks do increase leading up to the draft, so maybe the Bears would get involved in some of these trade discussions. Subscribe to the channel. We are draft focused as we are 10 days away as of filming this from the NFL draft, so subscribe, turn on notifications. A week from Thursday, the draft will be here. It's crazy. It's getting here quick. So lock us in, subscribe, turn on those noties, and don't miss a video. All right, Eric Green, which player in the draft do you think will fall the furthest in the first round? Every year there's at least one guy that falls like 20 spots further than expected. Hope the Bears draft BPA. Well, they say they are. Now, we don't know what their BPA is or would be, depending on this scenario, but a guy that falls 20 spots, 20 is a lot. I don't know where he is on the consensus at this point, but I do think, and maybe he's been lower in the draft community all along, but I think a guy that was going top 20 in a lot of monks, say 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, C.J. Allen, feels like someone who could go the middle of the second round at this point. Not the best athlete. Very smart, cerebral player, but in today's NFL, if you're going to take a linebacker high, he's got to be able to cover ground, and I think he's just average in that retrospect. So maybe he's a guy that fits that bill. 20 spots. I mean, like at this point, I feel like the league is cooled on like all the defensive tackles, so I don't think they fit that bill anymore. I don't think Ruben Bain's going to plummet after that situation drop. Maybe he drops a handful of spots, but not 20. So yeah, I don't know. Jordan Tyson, but like that's been out there for a few weeks. I also think that's going to like reverse course after his workout this week. I'm guessing that's going to go well. So yeah, last year the example of that might have been like Luther Burden. Some people thought he could go top 20, and he fell to the Bears at 39. So who is that this year? I'm not really sure. I guess we'll find out. Chris, how do you feel about Mike Washington Jr. in the second? Think he would dominate in Ben's system with how fast he hits the hole? I have heard that, the Bears could take a skill player on day 2, and don't be surprised if they do. And I wonder if he's a guy the Bears would like a lot. His explosiveness stands out, and not just because of the workout at the Combine. If you actually sit down and watch some of his stuff at Arkansas, when he hits the hole, he accelerates. Like, he can hit the home run at 6'1", 227. I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry, that's hyperbolic, but there are plays here and there where you're like, wow, that guy is massive and he can really go. So, had a bit of a fumbling issue, needs to improve as a third down player, especially in pass protection, but I think he's pretty skilled as a pass catcher. Arkansas had him run some wheels out of the backfield, and he had a couple of big plays. You can definitely run screen game with him. You can run outside zone. He can run between the tackles. So, yeah, I mean, if, would you take him at 60? Certainly 89 if he got there. I'd be very interested. I'm not sure he gets that far in a weak RB draft. But, yeah, I think a guy like that, Ben, would be pretty intrigued with if the value makes sense. Name a draft sleeper the Bears should draft. I think Mike Washington was a sleeper before the Combine. I don't think he is anymore. Who's a sleeper? A guy who's probably going day 3. I'll just give an example. I think like Landon Robinson, the Navy defensive tackle. Like if you could snag him mid-day 3, that would be a fun pick. So let me know who that is for you. Okay, got a few more here. Daniel Holland, who are the guys you think could develop into blue chip players? Just in this draft, guys that I think got a chance. I do think Arvell Reese has the physical capabilities to certainly do that, although being like a number 1 overall player is a little concerning. Mendoza could. I think there's a world he becomes a top 10 NFL quarterback, and I think at that position that makes you a blue chip guy. David Bailey, I wonder if he's more of like a high red player, like he's just very good for a long time. I don't know if he has like special twitchiness, but I do think he's a very, very, very good player. I think Jordan Tyson, if he can stay healthy, I think he's got that capability. You guys know how I feel about him. Jeremiah Love obviously stands out. I think Caleb Downs can be a blue chipper. Maybe he's more like David Bailey, where he's just a very, very good player for a long time, but I think his floor is extremely high. It's still pretty high ceiling. Jermod McCoy, I think his ceiling is higher than Monster Delane's at corner. Like if he gets back from this ACL properly, I think he's got a shot. Kenyon Sadiq's a unique athlete. So, yeah, this feels more like a red chip class. But those are some guys that I think could become blue chippers. Spencer Fano, he could play all 5 positions potentially. I wouldn't love him at left tackle, but is that just a really, really, really good player, or could he become a blue chipper? Caden Proctor could. He's kind of boomy busty. He could be awesome, but if he can't keep his weight under control, maybe he's out of the league in 4 years. So a guy like that is so physically gifted, so it's definitely possible. Okay, Dennis, appreciate the 2. What's going on with Bain? Also, hell no to Proctor. The Bain thing is interesting. I did a full video on this on 4Verts. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but basically a journalist who writes on a Substack discovered that he was a driver in a car accident stemming from 2024 where a female student died. He was initially charged with careless driving, but there was no sobriety test given. I'm not sure why. They didn't find suspicious behavior from him on the scene, so I guess they didn't determine a sobriety test was needed. They later dropped the careless driving charge. He did get hit with another careless driving charge the next year in 2025, so that's at least a yellow flag for me. It's like, okay, you would think, regardless of if it was your fault or not, you would have learned from that initial incident. So to get hit with that again, it was later dropped, but it's like, okay, that's a little concerning. I still think he's going to go top 15 at worst, but maybe that explains why he's been more in that like 8 to 12, 8 to 13 range instead of top 5 or 6, where a lot of people think from a football standpoint he's worthy of a top 5 pick. All right, appreciate all your questions. Follow me on social media at HGramNFL, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I caught up on some DMs this weekend, so I have some more to go, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/HGramNFL. If you search Harrison Graham Chat Sports, you can find me that way as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and bear down. All right, draft sleeper. Name a draft sleeper. Give me just a moment here.
Let us know down below in the chat.
Draft sleeper. Sleeper. I'd ask you, but I feel like that's the whole point of these draft crushes. You kind of have some sleepers.
Speaking of.
Yeah. Let's hit some Cullen draft crushes here. If you're just joining us, what we're going to do next is Cullen draft crush number 18 and 19. We will get into the fan-led mock draft where you guys make the picks, and then we will wrap up the stream with Cullen's Bears mock draft, which I will react to, and that will include draft crush number 20, which is who he is projecting the Bears will take in the first round. So all that's coming up. Why don't you hop in while I'm doing this real quick behind the scenes into draft crush number 18 for us, Mr. Cullen Brown.
Absolutely, and it's kind of funny that we were initially talking about him for a brief bit. Zane Durant, the defensive tackle out of the University of Penn State, who 4.3 tech. He is a lighter defensive tackle, as you see on your screen, 6'1", 294 pounds. So kind of fits the Dennis Allen mold in terms of what he's looking for defensive tackles. Dane Brugler had this to say when it came to Zane Durant that I thought summarized it really well. He says, Durant wins with play strength, violent hands, but you don't feel his impact consistently on tape or in the box score. The team that drafts him will hope to develop or bottle his disruptive flashes. And he is a day 3 guy. I think you mentioned it, you would take him around the 4th round. I completely agree with you. He's not somebody that is going to go on day 2 or, obviously round 1 by any stretch, but he's somebody that he's compactly built. He's got pretty good strength for his size, which I think is something that you kind of need if you're going to be an undersized defensive tackle. He's got physical hands, as Brugler mentioned, and I think that this is the quote. An NFL scout had a quote on Zane Durant that I thought was really interesting. His quote, "Give a shit factor is high. Always taking notes in meetings. Warrior in the weight room, one of the most respected voices in the program." If you're at Penn State and you have a scout that says that about you, that's usually a pretty good thing. Especially,
yeah, speaks volumes. I mean, it's a program that's pumping out NFL draft or NFL talent every year, so definitely stands out to me.
But he's not perfect, as I mentioned kind of earlier. He doesn't have that ideal frame, as it were, in terms of modern defensive tackles. But as a day 3 guy, who again he has those just kind of moments of just he's able to get after the quarterback, he's able to disrupt things from the interior. I think he's worthy of drafting into this Bears defensive line room if you're looking for somebody on day 3 at the defensive tackle spot. He's somebody that stuck out to me. And I think he's also pretty athletic for his size, and I think he would just make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think there's an X's and O's fit, too. He falls into that kind of weight metric that historically Dennis Allen likes, around 300-ish pounds, guy who can get upfield quickly. So, yeah, I mean, I think a guy like this, I'd much rather take a guy like this in the 4th round than, force a need at 25.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To me, Peter Woods out of the round 1 guys probably checks the most boxes of what the Bears are looking for, but I just refuse to think that would be a BPA pick. I think you'd be reaching for that. So, I don't want to do that. I don't think the Bears will do that unless they're just much higher on a guy like Peter Woods than, I am. But, I think getting a guy like this on day 3, getting a guy like Grayson Halton later on day 2, I would rather do that than spend my most premium pick on a guy who could become really good but probably isn't going to be great as a rookie and, may never reach his potential. Like, I'd rather just get like a guy who, hey, like, come and be like DT4 as a rookie, and you can develop, you'll be in the rotation, and, maybe, down the road you're a starter or at least like a DT3 level player, something like that.
I think he's going to be somebody that contributes to defensive line rotations for many years to come.
Yeah.
I really do.
All right, I like that. So let's go to number 19 here. Okay, I like this guy, Derek Moore. His range feels interesting, Cullen. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he came off the board in like the 50s, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he's there at like 78 or something like that. Like, I doubt he gets to the Bears at 89, but maybe.
Maybe.
It's a deep position.
To me, he's in that same range as Dennis Sutton and Gabe Akis. Like,
Agreed.
He's right in that kind of mold in terms of an edge rusher on day two, who I think does a lot of things really well. You see his listings on screen in terms of his height and weight, 6'3". He's actually just a shade under 6'4", at around 260 pounds. Also note, in terms of his arm length, just under 33.5-inch arms. So he's got long range. He's athletic, broad shoulders. And the big thing that you see also on screen, 10 sacks last season.
Yep.
Like, he's been productive the last 2 years at Michigan. I think he's 8th in terms of career sacks as a Michigan Wolverine.
His pass rush win rate, I think, is like 19% too, which I'm a big believer in that translating in the NFL. Like, the higher that is, like, that's just a stat I'd buy into. Right. It's especially the guys who get over 20, which there are rarely that many. I saw someone breaking this down. It's like the last 5 years, guys who cleared a 20+% pass rush win rate with X amount of snaps played, because obviously there's randos who played 100 snaps and cleared it or whatever, but guys who reach the snaps threshold, there's like no misses. Like they're at least like good players. They may not be all pros, but they're all at least pretty good.
What I really like about Moore is, he has multiple pass rush win moves that he can win with, to your point of having like a 19% pass rush win rate.
Yep.
And he's also not afraid to set the edge. Like, he takes pride in being able to, as a run defender, setting the edge, in terms of playing that team game in the defensive line room and guarding the run. The question is, with Derek Moore, how high is his ceiling? He seems like more of a high floor player than a high ceiling player. That being said, on day two, you're looking for guys that can hit and contribute to that rotation. To me, Derek Moore is just somebody, you draft him, you insert him right away, and he's immediately like a 6+ sack defensive end that can contribute for years to come, and somebody that contributes to the run game, also gives you production as a pass rusher. I'm not going to hate that.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me they take an edge on day two that gives you 5 or more sacks as a rookie and is above average against the run in year one, like, to me, like, it's so hard to come in as a trenches player and be like a high level player.
Right.
So, like, if you're above average as a day two defensive lineman as a rookie, that's pretty impressive. So, yeah, like, to me, if I'm comparing him and Dennis Sutton, I think Moore is a little more skilled as a pass rusher, and I think Dennis Sutton's a little more sturdier as a run defender.
Sure.
But, like, there's a lot of overlap in their games, similar builds, so I think between those two and Akis, like, if one of those guys is on the board in the 57-60 chunk, like, and you didn't take an edge round one, like, give me one of those players. Like, I'm not going to, like, bitch about which one it is. I think they're all three very similar tier overall. So, yeah, like, I'd be thrilled with any of those guys.
Yeah, so that will be 18 and 19. Feel really good about both those guys, both from the Big Ten, obviously.
Yep.
I like them.
All right, cool stuff. Number 20 coming up when we get to Cullen's Bears mock draft. We'll clean up the super chat here, then we'll get into our fan-led mock after we catch up on supers. We've got Will Edwards, appreciate the 5. He says, you think the Bears are more likely to leverage 57 or 60 for additional draft capital or actually draft 2 players there? I'd love Halsey and DDS. Yeah, I mean, if you told me they get A.J. Halsey and deny Dennis Sutton, I'd be cool with that. I do wonder, Cullen, and again, it's smokescreen season. We don't know what's true, what's not. But like, I think there's always something to learn with like these top 30 visits. Do you think the Bears are trending to more of these like hybrid athlete DBs over an AJ Halsey, who can do some different things, but like
he's mainly.
I don't view him in the same mold as Treydan Stukes or Keionte Scott. Like to me, Halsey, if you take him, it's like, hey, be a better Jaquan Brisker. Like that's kind of like big safety who can play the run and is a better playmaker in coverage than Brisker is. Like, if you can be that type of player, that's what I'm looking for. But I also don't think he's moving around as much as those other guys are. So I do wonder, like, what the Bears would value more.
I think if the right player on their board fell to them, I think they would be tempted to take an AJ Halsey or whomever, that if they felt like this is a guy that we think is going to be a really good football player for us, they would rather have that. And I think they could maybe look at, and we kind of mentioned it, Keionte Scott, Treydan Stukes, in addition. But if they believe that A.J. Halsey is a better football player and he's sitting there at 57, for example, I think they would take him. But the fact that they are interested in this, I think what they're trying to tell, I think maybe other people, or maybe not other people, but just kind of something to kind of take note of, is there may not be a chance that one of those safeties, whether it's a Halsey, McNeil Warren, Dylan Thieneman, are going to be where the Bears are picking at the value that they want.
I guess I'm just reading this as like, are the Bears kind of telling you they have a type? Like the Kobe Bryant move, like that's to me, that's like a signal of we have a type, right? Like Kobe Bryant's a lot different than the two safeties they had last year.
Sure.
So like, do they want another guy that overlaps with his skill set, which to me, like, a Stukes and a Keionte Scott more checks that box of like versatile DB that has some corner background, at least nickel background, or is it like Halsey's just, hey, you're just a starting safety. Like we know what you are. Like it's just interesting because the challenge here is like I think Stukes and Scott, their potential could be higher with just how explosive they are athletically. But you also just need another starter. Like, you don't have that second starting safety right now. So, if you take Stukes or Scott in that role, well, one of those guys or Gordon better be able to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to sign somebody because I don't think you want to trot Elijah Hicks out there as a permanent starting safety for 2026. Like, can he play in a pinch? Yes, but, like, he's not a 17-game starter. So, I just think it's going to be interesting to see, like, if Stukes, Scott, and Halsey are on the board at 57 and they're like, we're taking a safety here, who do they take? Like that's going to be interesting to see how like their board comes together with those type of scenarios.
No doubt.
Okay, Prometheus, appreciate you, and Cullen, appreciate you, Prometheus, keeping up with the updates, love your platform. Appreciate you, Prometheus, thanks for the donation, and we'll keep pumping out the videos. Draft is here, baby. We've almost made it. Isaac Glass, another 5. Thank you, Isaac. I want to move up and get Thieneman. Would you move up for Thieneman if you're the Bears, or is that to you if he's sitting, like you'll take him at 25, but you're not, like would you move up? I don't know. Like, would you move up ahead of Dallas at 20? Is that too rich, or is it more of like
that would be too rich? Yeah.
Or is it more of like okay, like
if there's like a couple
21, 22, and you only have to give up like I don't know, your 4th round pick or something. Like, would you do that?
Exactly.
Like or you're swapping picks later.
Yeah, like I would look at something in terms of, hey, if it's a minor trade up and you truly have Thieneman, if the Bears are within, say, 4 or 5 picks, whatever it is, and, Ricky just tweeted. Texans and Will Anderson.
Oh, Ricky.
Look at that. Sorry about that. Anyways, if Thieneman is the best out of a 4 or 5 player crop that the Bears have, and you can get a good trade value in order to move up and draft Thieneman, then I would take it. If he falls to a 25, obviously you would, but I'm not moving heaven and earth for Thieneman.
Yeah, I mentioned him in that trade up targets video. I think I moved up to 21.
Fair.
And I think I swapped like a 3rd and a 4th or something like that.
Sure.
So, like, yeah, I would do something like that, Isaac, but like if it costed 25 and like one of my seconds straight up, I probably would not do it. Like, I'd rather just take a safety in the 2nd round at that point. Austin Mays area, effing love you and miss the Bears and Cullen. Well, we're here. I think you're saying you miss Bears football. I definitely do. For the first year in a while, I missed the Sundays. I didn't under Eberflus. I didn't at the end of Nagy, but I do now. So I'll say this, man. When the draft is over, it's like, all right, let's get the schedule and let's get to August, baby. Let's get this thing going. It'll be nice to kind of unwind a little in the off season, but I'll be getting the itch. All right, Dev P would love to see a 3 or 4 round mock draft show with all the Chat Sports hosts drafting for the respective teams. Wow, interesting you say that, Dev P. This Thursday, April 16th. I don't know what time yet. Did they announce what time?
They did. Here, let me pull that up. Anyways, promoting it.
This Thursday, I don't know what time. Cullen's looking that up. I'm guessing 3 o'clock Central Time. We will be live.
I thought they did.
For as many of our channels as we can, but with channel owners picking for their respective teams for all 32 teams, we're doing a 3-round mock draft this Thursday live. Don't miss it. It's going to be electric, and we can't wait. So
Sam said, because we're having this thing where we can technically make trades for our respective teams that we're hosting. Deadline to send those in is Thursday at 12 Central. So,
but there's no start time.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'd imagine it's sometime in the afternoon on Thursday.
Well, it's at least after 12.
Exactly.
I would guess it's 2 or 3 o'clock.
There
would be my guess.
There you go. Water is wet, Cullen just said. But yeah, we'll be 3-round mock draft. Harry's going to be obviously making picks for the Chicago Bears. I'll be making picks for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and everybody else that's got a team here at Chat Sports will be making draft picks.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Isaac, only need 300 more on Harry's 4 slants. 4 slants or 4 verts? Everyone check it out after this. That's brutal. I must not be promoting the show well enough. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to get to 19,000 subs on my other channel by the draft. So if you want to support the show, Cullen can throw the link in the live chat.
Yep.
I would certainly appreciate it. NFL and college football content daily. We're definitely NFL heavy this time of year, and definitely I would say NFL draft heavy this time of year. I'm actually working on a 3-round mock draft as we speak. So we'll do that. I got to do my annual NFL mock draft with blockbuster trades. I'll have to drop that later this week, early next week, and then I'll have my final mock draft as well. So probably 3 more original mocks from me, and then I'll probably react to the Chat Sports mock draft too. Might as well. We'll have all the data for it. So, yeah, be on the lookout. Lots of stuff coming up. 4 verts. Link in the live chat. All right. What else we got here?
Alex, why not take more at 57 or 60? It's a very real possibility.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. I'd take him at 57 or 60. Him, Dennis Sutton, or Akis. If one of them gets there, let's take him. Now, if you took D-end in the first round, maybe you don't double up, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just don't think they will do that. But, yeah, if you haven't gone edge in round 1, let's get one of those boys in here. Will Edwards, again, appreciate you in the 5. I haven't heard much of anything about Josephs out of Tennessee. Is he a player we should be looking at? I haven't talked about him much because he's not really a scheme fit. He's like, I think he's sub 6'3" and like 240. Yeah. They're just not going to draft him. I'm not the biggest fan anyway, to be honest.
He's probably a day 3 guy, if I'm being honest. Like
yeah,
maybe round 3.
Some 3-4 scheme team might take him in the 3rd, but he's one of those guys, if you're using PFF Simulator, they're higher on him for whatever reason.
Yep.
I don't think he's a 3-down player, and I think he's scheme dependent. I don't think he can play in a 4-3, at least not consistently. So
I use the consensus big board, and
I think Brugler has him as a 4th-round grade.
Yeah.
Some like him higher. I could see a team like, would like the Eagles take him in the 3rd round, or the Vikings, or a scheme like that maybe. But yeah, I don't think he's a fit. If you're gonna take a 3-4 scheme guy in the 3rd round, take Romello Height, because at least he's a juiced up pass rusher. I'd rather take that guy who's probably not going to defend the run well, but I think he's a much more polished rusher than Joseph's is. Mr. Washington, hey, what are we doing about Karan Amagaji? Had this convo last year. I feel he is just there wasting a roster spot, I'm being honest. Yeah, I think the difference now is it's a year later, and we just saw the year play out, and he was falling behind in the left tackle competition. Then they moved him to guard. Then he got injured and basically missed the whole year. So I think now it's like, okay, we're 2 years in now. It's a lot easier to cut him this year. I get why they kept him last year. It's like you took him in the 3rd round, and you still didn't have a long-term left tackle, which technically you still don't but I just think you have other options that you'd rather trot out there. Barring a surprise, I don't think he makes this football team. Like, he's got some physical talent, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and when he has played, we haven't seen much. So, it would be one of those where if he makes the team, that would be a surprise. I would say at this point. I mean, is it fair to say he's probably not even on the roster bubble? Like, it would be a lot for him to even be on the bubble at this point. I don't see it.
I'd be shocked.
You brought Braxton Jones back. That tells you they're way higher on him than Karan Amagaji.
Yep.
And Braxton Jones basically missed all of last year. So I think that's pretty telling in itself. Okay, Officer K, any thoughts on C.J. Allen if he was there at 25? I'm not a huge fan, at least in the first round. Look, if he's there at 57, you want to take him. I think that's pretty good value. Smart player. Scouts and execs talk about his cerebral, he sits in these draft rooms and is talking to these coaches and scouts about the defense that specific team is running and how he would run it. And so he seems like a very smart player. And look, if you wear the green dot at Georgia, that's valuable. I just don't think the athletic traits stand out to me. And so off-ball linebacker's already a non-premium position. You better be pretty fucking athletic and pretty freaking productive if I'm going to take you in the first round as a linebacker. And I think he's kind of middle of the pack at both. He had decent production and decent athletic traits. So 57, sure. 25, I'm probably going to pass.
Agreed.
I'd rather take Rodriguez pretty easily.
Yeah.
Anthony Hill or C.J. Allen?
It's a discussion.
I agree. I might lean Allen.
It's a discussion.
But Hill's probably a little more athletic. I might lean out. I think it's close enough where I might lean Allen there. But yeah, I also think the draft world has cooled on Allen as this
Yeah.
I think I answered this early during the Q&A. Someone asked if a guy who could drop 20 spots, that would be a surprise. I don't think it's a surprise anymore, but based on when the draft season started, which is around the combine, right, I feel like he was going top 20, top 25 pretty consistently in mocks, and now I never see him in the first round.
Never.
So, yeah, again, if he got to you in your second round cluster, I'd be cool at that range, but
Prometheus, I'll ask what everyone's thinking. What's the realistic expectations for Caleb this year?
I think realistic expectations is you finish the year and it's okay, he's for sure a top 10 NFL quarterback. I think that's a realistic goal. It's he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. I think a good goal to have is could he push for top 5 this year? Drake May, before the playoffs last year, was a top 5 quarterback in the league last year. Can Caleb push for that? Now, May in the playoffs plummeted in small sample size. Jaden Daniels' rookie year, he was that, but the second year he wasn't. So, again, I think this is why, you have to give quarterbacks, 3 years before you can really place them into a tier comfortably. So, yeah, I think we should get out of year 3, and it's hey, that's a top 10 quarterback. Let's start contract extension talks. That, to me, that's a realistic expectation. I think it's possible he could push for top 5. I think there's a world where we're sitting here at Halloween and there's, maybe he's not the front runner, but is Caleb Williams 4th in the MVP odds? I think that's possible. So, yeah, be a top 10 quarterback. Anything more is even more awesome. But yeah, I think that's a realistic expectation. Year 3 in the league, year 2 with Ben. You've got good playmakers. You're not going to have as many growing pains with the system throughout the summertime leading up to the season. So, yeah, go out there, be a top 10 quarterback week in and week out. I think that's a good, realistic expectation. Lofty goals, push for top 5. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, fan-led mock time. Do you want any adjustments or just?
Nope. We'll do fan-led mock, and we'll stick with what y'all said last time. We will not trade up because I think that's a long-shot scenario anyway. So we will start at the 25th pick and go from there. So fan-led mock, stick with us because you guys will make the picks. And then also we will react to Cullen's Bears mock draft at the end of the show. So we still got a lot to get to here on Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody being here. Let's get into it. I'm Harrison Graham. It is time for our annual fan-led Bears mock draft. And the way we're doing this is we are live on the show Monday. So if you're watching live, you guys are going to get to make the picks in real time. We agreed we're not trading up from the 25th overall pick. We could certainly trade down or trade later in the mock, but we're going to kick this thing off at the 25th selection. So producer Cullen Brown's going to be hanging out with us. He's running the simulator here as well. So let's go ahead and get this thing started, Cullen. We can see who some of the notable picks were in the top 25, and then we will see who's on the board now. So if you want to go maybe 15 to 25, and then we will hit some of the better players available here.
Sure thing. So we've got Vega Ioane, Akeem Mesidor, Monroe Freeling, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Jordan Tyson, Jermod McCoy, C.J. Allen, Omar Cooper Jr., Avion Terrell, and Max Ihanachor, all off the board for the Chicago Bears at pick 25. Keldrick Falk, he's there.
I'll put him on.
Got Blake Miller.
Caden Proctor
as well.
Okay, I'll put both of them on there.
Caden McDonald, DJ Parker, Denzel Boston, Caleb Banks, Peter Woods.
I try not to double up at positions, so I'll go. McDonald still available?
Yes, he is.
Caden McDonald. I'm gonna go Falk, Proctor, McDonald, or trade down. Those are gonna be my options. So you guys weigh in here. You guys are making the picks. Do you want to take a left tackle? Do you want to take Keldrick Falk? Do you want to take Caden McDonald, who I would not take, but if you want to, you can? Or would you like to trade down? Do we have any teams that are interested in trading down?
Got a few. Rollies. Shout out to Rolly.
Dolphins at 30. Okay.
Seattle at 32. The Jets at 33. Titans at 35. We've got the Falcons at 48 and the Detroit Lions at pick 50.
It is close, man, between Proctor and trade down. I you know what? Like, Bears fans are going to hate me for this, and I don't have a strong feeling yet. I am starting to turn a corner on Keldrick Falk. I was reading some data stuff about like how the league has really gotten back to being more run heavy in recent years to like counter like the too high safety looks, and like having those big edge rushers that can set the edge like is really important against these outside zone schemes. So like I get the lack of sack production, but like he's also 20. So like I'm not saying I'm doing jumping jacks and like yelling from the top of my mountain for Keldrick Falk if he's there at 25. I don't think I'm going to crash out though if it happens. Like I'll understand the pick. Like I think he right away can come in and be a good run defender. Now, is he probably going to sit there at the end of his rookie year with like 3.5 sacks? Probably, but I think he's at least a pretty high floor player with pretty decent upside. I'm not saying he's got crazy upside as a pass rusher, but like I think there's a world where he could become like an 8-sack-a-year guy while being a good run defender. I don't think that's crazy.
Don't think it's crazy. I think Keldrick Falk, I've always been higher on him than, say, like a guy like TJ Parker, for example.
I agree. I like him more than Parker. Like, they're similar type of players, but he's just bigger.
Right.
So, like, not to make like a sex joke, but size matters. Like, if it's a tiebreaker, give me the bigger guy. Like,
No doubt.
It's a big man's game. So, come on. They want to trade down, though, it looks like.
Trade down.
All right, let's explore some trades then. You said 30 and 32. Who else was interested?
30, 32. We also have the Jets at 33. We have the Titans at 35. Atlanta Falcons at 48. And Detroit Lions at pick 50.
All right, let's shout out between 30, 32, 33, and 35. Where do you guys want to trade down? I'll make a decision quickly, and then you guys. I personally, if you guys want to be pushed in a direction, I kind of like the idea of 33 because I like having the first pick of the second round because you're holding on to that pick for 20 hours. I know that's not literally the case in this simulator, but I kind of like that. But you guys let me know which spot we should trade down to. What's the chat saying here?
A lot of mixed. I'm seeing some 33s. I am seeing some 30s. Seeing some 32s.
35. There's a couple 35s.
Yep. It's kind of all mixed, if I'm being honest.
Man. Some more 33s are rolling in.
I do think the trade down, though, in this spot would be smart.
Yes. I also think there's enough players still there that I like, too. So there's like a decent chance one of them gets to like 32, 33.
No doubt.
Someone says 25 for 35 and 66.
Do we just make that the new poll? Just where do you trade down to? 30, 32, 33, or 35?
Sure, let's do it real quick. I can do it real quick.
Guy Harry's got it.
Wow, I said that and my thing just froze.
Do you want me to do it?
Just say trade down as the title line and then just put 30, 32, 33, 35.
We can do it.
We'll let you guys vote. We don't want this to drag out too long. But hey, this is like being in a war room.
It's literally.
By the way, a little teaser. Thursday, live, Chat Sports Mock Draft. I'll be live here on Bears Now making the Bears picks. So, and trades are an option, so stay tuned. Okay, what's the early?
33 is the big one.
Pretty clear.
It's almost at 60%.
All right, so pull up 33. The Jets. Then, what picks do they have after 33?
So they have 44, 103, 140, 179, 228, and 242.
What about 20? What about 25 and 60 for 33 and 44?
Okay, so you trade down, obviously 8 spots.
Trade down 8 spots, trade up 16 spots in the second round.
Don't hate it.
Let's see what the old Rich Hill. Yes or no on that trade, chat? 33 and 44 to the Bears for 25 and 60. So 25 and 60, 230 plus 88 points. It's 318. Will you remember that number for me? 318. Yep. 33 is 180. 44 is 135. 315. It's basically an even trade. All right. Looks like chat's saying yes. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that. 33 and 44 to the Bears for 25 and 60. So we will continue with this mock. Caden Proctor still there.
Still there.
That feels egregious. Caleb Lomu feels more realistic.
Yeah, let's see who the Jets actually picked. So they went with Keldrick Falk, ironically.
Okay.
Blake Miller, Cassius Howell, TJ Parker, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, Caden McDonald, and then Caleb Banks went at 32, showing how PFF is maybe a little behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, well, they laid off most of their staff, tragically. So shout out to those people, man. Hopefully they land. But
yep.
Do we include Proctor, chat? Is that egregious? Or do we take Caleb Lomu? All right, the chat wants Proctor.
Yeah.
It's a fan-led mock. Screw it. We'll take Caden Proctor. All right, so 44 now?
We should.
Caleb Lomu's still available. Wake up, PFF.
All right, so in this mock draft, we actually traded out of the first round, but we want to know if the Bears stick in round 1, who should they draft? Let us know down below in the comment section.
Yeah, or you could just answer this, who should be their first pick, regardless of when it is. That's certainly acceptable as well. Let us know. All right, who's available? Is Zion Young still there?
So we got Caleb Lomu, we've got Chris Bell, we got Jacob Rodriguez,
I'll put Rodriguez on here.
R. Mason Thomas, Chase Basantis, Jeremy Bernard, Keith Abney, Gabe Akis, AJ Halsey, Eli Stowers, Malachi Lawrence, Keionte Scott, Jadarian Price. A lot of tempting names that are still on the board.
All right, scroll back up. I got Rodriguez. I feel like it feels a little early for that next edge cluster that I like. I'll put Akis on there, though.
Okay. AJ Halsey, this is where he's going to start to problem.
I'll put Halsey on there, too. EMW is gone, guys, unless my chat's just behind. Certainly possible.
He went before.
I'll throw Jadarian Price in there. Why not? Have some fun.
Just some picks that we'll go since the Bears pick. So Ty Simpson went to the Cardinals, then Peter Woods, Colton Hood, Kristen Miller, Emmanuel Pregnon, Lee Hunter, Zion Young, Brandon Cisse, D'Angelo Pons, and Chris Johnson.
All right, go vote on the poll. Give you guys about a minute. We got Jacob Rodriguez, Gabe Akis, AJ Halsey, and Jadarian Price, all on the board at 44. Let's hear it. Who do you guys want?
Let us know down below.
Has the poll popped up for you?
Yep.
Okay, what's it looking like?
It looks like Jacob Rodriguez is going to be a Chicago Bear in this mock.
Is it pretty clear?
It's 46%.
Okay. How many votes?
We've got a total of 111.
All right.
112.
What's the next closest? Akis?
The next closest it's kind of close between Akis and Halsey, 26 and 24% respectively.
Okay. That's a pretty big gap, almost 20%. So
right.
Let's go Jacob Rodriguez. That's who you guys want.
Fair enough. All right.
57 now?
Yes. So some players that just went off the board. We got Jeremy Bernard, R. Mason Thomas, Caleb Lomu, Keith Abney, Chris Bell, Chase Basantis, Gabe Akis, Keionte Scott, AJ Halsey, Skylar Bell, Jadarian Price, and Malachi Lawrence. All are off the board.
All right. Gabe Akis went too, I assume?
He did.
So we've gone Caden Proctor and Jacob Rodriguez. So
yep.
I think it's a good spot for those edges because we're not picking again until 89, right? So
yep.
Do we just go with the two-person poll of Deni Dennis Sutton and Derek Moore? Let you guys pick?
Or do you guys want...
Or do you want a safety here, too?
Yeah. Someone's saying you got to go safety.
Okay. What's the best? And include is like Keionte Scott and Treydan Stukes?
Yeah, Stukes is still on the board. I think Keionte Scott was already taken. Caleb Tiernan, Josiah Trotter, Davidson Igbinosun, Grayson Halton.
I'm going to go Treydan Stukes. Is Dennis Sutton and Moore still there?
Yep. Both are still there.
Okay. I'll add both of them. I'll add trade down as an option as well.
Okay.
Edge, Michigan, and then trade down. All right, Stukes, Dennis Sutton, or Moore, or we can trade back. Poll is getting sent out. So you guys let us know.
These are the picks so far. Caden Proctor, Jacob Rodriguez are off the board for the Chicago Bears.
Take your guy, Harrison. What, Dennis Sutton? I like both him and Moore. I'd lean Dennis Sutton, but it's close. It's close. I like Stukes a lot, too.
The poll is leaning Deni Dennis Sutton.
What's the percentages?
46% for DDS, and then the next closest is Stukes at 27.
Okay, that's a pretty wide gap. All right, let's take Deni Dennis Sutton then.
There we go.
He is the pick.
All right. So, go over to Jalen Farmer. We got Dalen Everett, Jake Slaughter, Ron Crawford, Rayshon Benny, Logan Jones. We got Ted Hurst, Genesis Smith, Jonah Coleman.
I was going to ask, what's the safety situation looking like?
We're looking at safeties. We'll look at both corner and safety. See if there's any of those hybrid guys. Genesis Smith, more of a free high or a high safety. Zakee Wheatley, got Malik Muhammad, Bud Clark, your guy out of TCU. Cario Davis. Jalen Kilgore, probably be more of a fourth-round guy, but will he make it to 129?
Yeah, that's the thing. This could be a decent trade back spot, too. I'd debate Wheatley and Clark. I think Clark's a better playmaker, but...
Yeah. I do like Wheatley.
Yeah. I'll put both of them in there.
We'll give Treydan as an option, too.
I'll go Clark, Wheatley, I'll go Jake Slaughter, and then I'll go Treydan, because this could be a center spot, too.
No doubt.
Give me just a second here.
So for tackle, linebacker, and edge.
Don't mind how this has fallen so far, to be fair. Now, I don't think our friend Caden Proctor's getting to 33, but I don't think it's the most egregious thing ever. One of those tackles could get out of the first round, whether it's him, Blake Miller, or Ihanachour. So I more view it as that. Like, could one of those tackles be there at 33 if you trade down? I don't think that's crazy.
Absolutely.
All right. Here we go. Sending the poll out. You guys make the pick, or if you want to trade. Does anybody want to trade?
Anybody want to trade? Not at the moment.
Okay, so we would kind of have to manufacture a little something, is what
Just
you're
a little
saying.
something.
We can do that. We can see what range.
Just a reminder, too, that if you ever want to be a part of maybe mock drafts like this or just the regular stuff we get on our live shows, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications because we go live every Monday and Thursday here at Bears Now.
Appreciate that for sure. Okay, what is like – trying to think of a team with a lot of picks.
A lot of picks in this
So
range.
Miami at 94, but you're only going down 5 spots. I think you'd have to be looking to like early 4th round. So like, who in that early 4th round range? Does Arizona have a lot of picks at 104?
We could see. Let's see, Arizona.
Because it looks like trade down's going to be the win here.
Arizona has 104, 143, 183, and 217.
So 4 picks, a little bit. What about Cleveland at 107?
Cleveland. We've got 107, 146, 149, 206, and 248.
So what if we got 107? What was the next 2 picks?
146.
146.
And 149.
What if we got 107 and 149 for 89? So just the draft points there. 89 is worth 46 points. Again, this is an estimate. 107 is worth 31. So there's a 17-point gap. 146 is worth 13 points. So it'd be like a flat trade.
Okay, so just 146 and 107?
Yeah, so 107 and 146 for 89. If you don't want to do that, then we should probably just pick a player. That's kind of the type of trade you're looking at.
No doubt.
Would y'all rather take a player? Yes to that trade or no? If it's no, then let's just pick who's got the most votes. Slaughter?
The most votes after that is Jake Slaughter.
Okay. Most people are saying no. Overkill says I don't hate that. Poole says Wheatley.
Getting a little mixed, yes
A little
and no.
mixed. Okay, I'm going to end this poll and say, are you making that trade, yes or no? We'll decide real quickly.
Yep.
Real quickly here.
If not, come on down, Jake Slaughter.
And again, it's 89 for 107 and 146. $89 for 107 and 146. Just put the poll out. What's it looking like, Seabreeze?
It is looking like they want to make the trade. It's at 66%.
How many votes in?
70.
All right. Chat's starting to say yes, too. All right, make the trade. 107-146 for 89.
There you go.
Chat's in charge of this mock draft. All right, so we took 3 players in the second round. Is that right?
Caden Proctor, Jacob Rodriguez, and denied Dennis Sutton.
And now we're early 4th. We got 2 4th-rounders, and now we have a 5th-rounder, too. So
Malik Muhammad.
Oh, that's any safeties left?
We got Dante Corleone. We've got
Kilgore still sitting there.
Kilgore should be. Let me double check. Bud Clark's there.
Okay.
And Jalen Kilgore's still there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go. Bud Clark,
Deontay Lawson, Caleb Proctor, DeJon Stribling, Will Lee, Brennan Thompson, TJ Daniels.
I think we gotta get a safety here, right? Like I'm all BPA, but at some point you gotta get a. I'll put 4 options in there. I'm gonna go Clark, Kilgore, Muhammad, and is the which D-tack did you mention? Caleb Proctor.
Him and the Godfather are both available.
Godfather's not a scheme fit, tragically. Proctor out of
Landon Robinson's also there too, the Navy guy.
Yeah, Proctor's a little higher.
Where's McClellan?
Where's Proctor out of? Southeast Louisiana.
Southeast Louisiana.
All right, polls out there. We're not trading from here.
Fair enough.
No more trades. Maybe one more.
Maybe one more. All right. While you guys vote, just want to remind you guys that if you guys want some of the best merch out there, I feel like we got pretty good stuff here at Bears Now, Harry.
Check it out. I think one of the better collections at the company. This is our newest shirt, chatsports.com/LB10, the black and navy t-shirt available. I think it's an awesome look. I personally think the black tee is the way to go for this one. First time we've gone with a black tee or hoodie here on Bears Now, too. We've stuck with navy, white, and some orange for the most part. Obviously some green with the St. Patty's stuff. But the black tee is a good look. So check it out, and we'll be good to go. All right, looking like Bud Clark. Someone did ask about center. What centers were still sitting there in this cluster?
Not
Not looking great.
looking great. Pat Coogan.
Yeah, we can get him later.
Yeah.
All right, Bud Clark's the pick. He's almost at 50% of the votes.
Man out of TCU.
If you get him day 3, that's a steal in my opinion.
No doubt. All right, now at pick 129, we've got on the board Carson Beck, Seth McGowan. Jalen Kilgore's still there.
Double dip in the secondary?
Still there.
Is Malik Muhammad still there?
Muhammad's gone.
Brutal.
Seth McGowan, Jalen Kilgore, Jack Indries, Eric McAllister, Bo Stevens, Bryce Betcher, Jacoby Lane, Emmett Johnson, Marlon Klein, Charles Demings, Mason Rieger.
What's defensive tackle looking like? Did we lose?
We've got Tim Keenan, DeMonte Capehart, Albert Regis, Zane Durant.
Ooh, I'll go Zane Durant.
There you go.
Okay, Zane Durant. What about outside corners?
Outside corners, we've got Charles Demings, Devin Marshall, Ephesians Presock, Julian Neal, Thaddeus Dixon, Ezekiel Massis, TJ Hall.
Don't love that group, to be honest.
Charles Demings, I have a decent grade, but that seems
he's an intriguing one. I'm going to put Kilgore on here. He's not really an outside corner, though. What about receivers and or running backs?
Okay, receivers / running backs. We got Seth McGowan, Eric McAllister, Jacoby Lane, Emmett Johnson, Nicholas Singleton.
All right, I'll go McGowan, running back. What receiver? I don't think they're taking McAllister. There's
Jacoby Lane, Cyrus Allen, Caleb Douglas, Kevin Coleman Jr., Josh Cameron.
Oof. Tight end?
We've got Jack Indries, Marlon Klein, Dallin Bentley, Nate Borkacher. Could be an interesting one. Joe Royer.
I'll throw Klein in here. All right. Make the pick. I think it's going to be one of two guys. One of two guys.
Just a reminder of the picks that have already been made. Caden Proctor trading down. Get him at 33. Jacob Rodriguez at pick 44, 57, denied Dennis Sutton. And at 107, Bud Clark.
This is where a BPA thing would be interesting. Like, at this point in the draft, are you feeling more of need? Because Kilgore is like probably the fun BPA pick, but like, how are you getting him and Bud Clark on this field at the same time? I mean, maybe Kyler Gordon plays some outside corner for you. I'm not sure, but Kilgore did some of that, right? But not much. He's more of a nickel safety. I could pull up his PFF. Well, click on Kilgore real quick. It'll tell you where the snaps were had.
Slot, box, had some deep safety.
What does corner say? Are there any?
4.
Yeah, it's not many at all. So
Not many.
you're not drafting him to play outside corner.
Could you move Kyler Gordon to the outside?
Yeah, I mean, he did it in college. It's been a few years, but he's played a few snaps at outside corner in the NFL. It's tight between Durant and Kilgore. We'll let a few more votes come in. Durant would be more of like the need pick, I would say. Like,
Yeah.
I think Kilgore's a better prospect overall. Would you agree with that?
It's close, but yeah, I would say so.
Do you like McGowan? Just
Seth McGowan,
okay.
day 3, running
4th,
back.
5th round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Doesn't really move the needle for me.
Yeah.
There's like 4 running backs.
He's
I would
like an
take.
RB2, RB3 in a
Yeah.
rotation.
There's like 4 running backs I would take round 3 or earlier.
Yeah, top 100.
Yeah.
All right, Durant has separated, so get a need there. Plug him into that rotation with those depth pieces, and I think you just passed him.
Oh, whoop.
Might just want to filter DT.
Maybe that would help. Zane Durant, you are heading to the Chicago Bears. Here. Bang.
All right. So now we're dropping to what, 147 or whatever? 146?
There we are.
Is it 146 or 147?
This is pick 146.
All right, so what is outside corner looking like? Hit that subscribe button. Fan-led mock draft. You guys make the picks. Longer video here because, we're deliberating, letting you guys decide. Go vote. Different type of video, but we like to do this every year. So subscribe. Real NFL draft coming soon. I'll have a couple more mocks. We'll have our live chat sports mock company-wide. I'll be making picks for the Bears this week, 3-round mocks. So that should be fun. Lock us in. Okay.
We got Devin Marshall, Ephesians Presock, Julian Neal, that is Dixon, Ezekiel Massis, TJ Hall. Jaden Kennedy's more of a slot corner.
Sicario Davis is gone, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's gone. Just double checking.
He's a guy I like early day 3 if he gets there, but he's probably gone by the 5th. Is that Emmett Johnson?
He is.
It's decent value in the 5th. I'll throw him in here.
Yeager Burton, Dallin Bentley, Nicholas Singleton, Austin Barber, Le'Veon Moss, Max Llewellyn, Isaiah World, Jaden Ott, Cyrus Allen.
Who's your favorite receiver still sitting there?
Favorite receiver? Let's pull it up. I do like Cyrus Allen. He's a really good separator. Kevin Coleman's and Josh Cameron, actually. 2 of my draft crushes.
Throw Allen on there. We haven't talked about him much.
Eric Rivers as well. There's some good value at receiver here.
Tight ends?
Tight ends. We have got Dallin Bentley, Nate Borkature, Joe Royer.
I'll throw your Borkature. Can you spell that last name for me?
Boerkircher.
He's the A&M kid.
That is. Really.
And then what about center? Is Coogan still there? That could be
I would
a
imagine.
decent value here.
Yeah, let's see. Yeager Burton, Pat Coogan. Well, I think Burton's going to be a guard.
Is Coogan your favorite center remaining?
Yeah. Out of these options, yes.
All right. We'll throw those guys in there. Emmett Johnson, which I misspelled Emmett. Apologies. Cyrus Allen, Nate Borkature, Pat Coogan. I'd be going Emmett Johnson or Pat Coogan here, I think. developmental center that could be a starter down the road, if not at least a high-quality backup. And then Emmett Johnson, who probably an RB3 as a rookie, but could play his way into a 1-2 punch in the future maybe. So
Maybe.
looks like Coogan's the lean right now.
Jeff Caldwell's an interesting receiver, too.
He's an RAS warrior.
Yep. That he is.
Is he real?
Yeah, is he real? Having that debate.
Chat Sports Inside joke.
To be honest, I'd take Cyrus Allen over him.
Yeah. He's a more, like, he actually kind of knows what he's doing. Yeah. He was a combine snub, I thought. He's pretty productive, I think. Didn't he have like 800 yards?
Yeah, he was very productive. He also just watches one-on-one routes.
Yeah,
no one can cover him.
He's a good route runner.
Really good at getting off press.
All right, Pat Coogan, come on down.
Pat,
You're a Bear.
you are a Chicago Bear.
Come develop behind Garrett Bradbury. All right, these are just 7th rounders coming up. All right.
It is.
What darts are we going to throw here?
We shall see. All right, Riley Nowakowski, Max Bredesen, Jalen Daniels, DJ Harvey, Vincent Anthony Jr., Tyler Onyedem, Lake McCree. So,
Who are your favorite tight ends left?
Tight ends, I'll look at this second. Tyler Onyedem, Brugler has him like a 3rd-round grade.
Okay.
And PFF has him in the 7th. So, very interesting. Just want to make that note here. Tight ends. I do like Bredesen, Lake McCree are 2 names that stand out. Carson Ryan, good blocking tight end.
Someone's asking if we can review the picks real quick.
Will Kazmarek, guy I had.
Okay.
What was the question?
Can we review the picks we've made so far?
Yep. So we've got Caden Proctor, Jacob Rodriguez, Denai Dennis Sutton, Bud Clark, Zane Durant, Pat Coogan, and then now we are on to the 7th rounders.
Someone's asking if Luke Altmaier is still available. I wouldn't mind him in the 7th either, to be honest.
Luke Altmaier is available.
All right, I'll throw him in there. We haven't taken a receiver yet, right?
Receiver.
Or a running back.
Caden Weegan, I know someone was spamming him in the chat. He literally just went before the Bears. He's a really interesting
What's running back and receiver looking like?
receiver. Vinny Anthony, the 2nd. Trevor Pena, Malik Benson, Squirrel White.
The Benson thing, like, he's going earlier, right? Yeah, that's unrealistic. I'm not putting him in there.
Jordan Hudson, interesting.
Yeah, he's an
option.
interesting guy. Never reached his potential in college, but huge recruit.
Yeah.
But 7th round. What about running back?
Scrolling up here. Raziel Faison.
Any of these guys stand out to you?
Here, let me just do it. Just running backs, make it easier. Jamal Haynes, Jam Miller, Noah Whittington.
Jam Miller actually tested better than I thought he would.
Adam Randall, C.J. Donaldson.
I'll throw Jam Miller in there. And then just let me know which tight end's your favorite left, and I'll throw him in there.
It would either be, there's a few different options. One of my draft crushes, Willis Kazmarek. I think he's a really good tight end. Really good blocking tight end.
Will, remind me how to spell his last name.
Kacmarek.
Okay. Where's he from?
Ohio State.
That's right. Oh, yeah, you were saying he's like a leader of that position group, right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys make the pick. What we'll do here is the top 2 votes will be the picks, unless the guy we don't take at 239 somehow goes off the board, which very unlikely, but you never know.
The Jags do need a tight end, according to PFF, so I don't know if they've taken one. But
So Kazmarek is the clear front runner, but they're split between Altmaier and Miller, so we'll let some more votes come in for those 2.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop voting for Kazmarek, we'll pencil him in at 239. So if you haven't voted, you can even change your vote if it lets you. Kazmarek, there's enough data. He's the first guy. Go vote on one of the other 3 guys now, and we'll see who emerges. Looks like Jam Miller is going to be the pick there. A couple Nowakowskis in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Well, he just went.
Yeah, he just went. All right, looks like Jam Miller. So let's go Kazmarek.
Yep.
And Jam Miller.
Bang.
There it is. All right, quick final reaction to this mock draft. You guys made the picks, so traded down. Somehow Caden Proctor was still on the board at 33. I think very unlikely, but weirder things have happened, so we'll allow it. Jacob Rodriguez as a part of that trade down at 44. You get Proctor and Rodriguez, Cullen. I'm pretty happy with that. You guys took one of my faves, denied Dennis Sutton at 57. We traded down from 89 because remember we lost 60 in that earlier trade. Got Bud Clark in the 4th, which is good value. I'm a big fan of Zane Durant as well as an interior defensive lineman. Pat Coogan, developmental center, a lot of experience. Will Kazmarek, a good blocking tight end. And then Jam Miller, who played a lot of ball at Bama and tested actually pretty decent at his either the pro day or the combine, can't remember. But there you go. Grade yourselves, A, B, C, D, or F. I'd give you guys a solid B+, A-. Now, I don't think Proctor's actually going to be there, but if you can trade down and still get him, I think that's really, really good value. So B+, A-. I think you guys did a pretty good job. I'll, of course, continue to pump out some of my own mock drafts for the Chicago Bears, so hit that subscribe button. Shout out to Cullen for running the simulator and collecting all the data from the votes and whatnot. And shout out to all of you for making the picks. See you guys next time here on Chicago Bears Now. We're not done. If you're watching live, we still have producer Cullen's Bears mock draft, so don't go anywhere.
Woohoo.
We got his picks coming up. We've been live for about an hour and a half, so we'll do another 15, 20 minutes or so with Cullen's 7-round mock draft. And I don't know if you remember last year, but like I could just intro it and kind of bring you in, and we'll just go pick by pick. All right.
Do that.
All right, sweet.
I trust you to.
How about this? I don't know if you have this as a weigh-in. Do you have them predicting who you take first?
I can add that.
Well, you don't need to. You guys guess right now.
Okay.
Who is Cullen's final draft crush, which, again, is who he is predicting the Bears will take in the first round, or at least with their first pick. Maybe they trade up, maybe they trade down. I have not seen his Bears mock yet. Predict Cullen's 20th draft crush and prediction for the Bears' first-round selection. Marcus says Rodriguez. Foxtrot says Falk. Mark says Cullen's has to be better. Ours was trash. Hey, you guys made the picks, man. Sadiq from J-Dub. That would be interesting. Let's see. Jordan Tyson if he falls. Akeem Mesidor. Rodriguez. All right, here we go. Someone says Cullen needs a shot to get his mind right for this draft.
Never turn down a shot.
Maybe Thursday we'll have a couple drinks. We'll see.
We'll see.
Colton Hood. It's an interesting one. I do think corner could be in play.
Do you have a guess, sir?
I am going to guess.
Obviously not going to tell you until we get into it, but
I'm going to guess. I feel like if one of the safeties is there, you would take them, but more often than not, they're not. So I will guess that you take. I'll guess Caden Proctor. That'll be my guess. Caden Proctor.
All right.
Thought about Mesidor, but he goes a lot before 25 in these mocks as well. So I'll guess Proctor, but we will see. Someone's asking you to drop the Jags channel link in the chat too. Go show my guy Cullen some love. He's our Jags host as well.
If you guys want to, if not. But we appreciate.
Go subscribe if you want to support Cullen.
We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. But I appreciate anybody who would be interested in that. Go grab this real quick. If y'all want. Ooh, that might help. Where is... There you go.
Sarah's texting someone back.
Appreciate that. If y'all want to.
All right. Let's get into Cullen's mock draft. We did this last year. We're doing it again. Can't wait for this. I'll react live. Never seen his mock until right now. Let's get it. I'm Harrison Graham, and we got a fun one today here on Chicago Bears Now. We are less than 2 weeks away from the NFL Draft, just a little bit over a week away from the NFL Draft. We did this last year. We're bringing it back. Producer Cullen Brown unveils, I have not seen this, I'm reacting live and raw, just like all of you, to his 7-round Bears mock draft. And if you're someone who tunes into our live shows frequently, throughout the draft season, he'll every single live show give a Cullen draft crush. The first 19 have been revealed. The 20th, just like last year, is his prediction for who the Bears will take in the first round of this mock. So the first pick he makes is his 20th draft crush. So we'll get into it here. Cullen, definitely excited about this, but before we get to your selection, 7-round mock draft coming up. But we're going to be live for the full deal, baby. All 7 rounds, all 250 whatever picks. I don't even know how many it is. We'll be live for all of it, reacting to the Bears picks, to all the other picks, answering your questions, chit-chatting. We'll do some raffles. It'll be fun. Coming up pretty quick. Subscribe, join us. Do not miss out from our draft coverage. All right, Cullen, before we get this going, too, this is a reminder of the Bears draft capital. 4 picks in the top 89. You got 129 as well. No picks in the 5th or 6th round. And round 7, picks 239, 241. Do you do trades in this mock?
We do.
Okay. So I don't think you did that last year. So that's a little
not.
bit of a curveball. So definitely excited about that. This is interesting. These guys were not available at 25. So kind of walk us through that thought process.
Yeah, I think these are all guys that I would have considered had they been on the board at 25, but I used the PFF kind of consensus mock draft board whenever I was doing this mock draft, and these are some of the names that were not available. Keldrick Falk, Akeem Mesidor, 2 edge rushers, different pros, different cons, but certainly 2 guys that will be in discussion for Chicago. Dylan Thieneman, who I've been a really big fan of this entire draft process, and then Caden Proctor, who's got that ability to play tackle and guard out of the University of Alabama, not available.
My prediction before we hopped into this segment was Proctor, so he is not the selection. A notable name that isn't listed here, which I assume means he is available, would be Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So we'll see if that is the pick for Cullen here coming up. And that would be the case, it appears, Cullen. It's about 50-50 in these simulators if EMW gets to the Bears at 25. In this case, he was. Talk us through this selection.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where you load up the simulator and, again, you kind of have in your mind, all right, based on who's available, different paths you could go down. You nailed it. If one of the 2 safeties of Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, certainly Caleb Downs too, but I don't expect him to fall this far, or Dylan Thieneman is available, I would expect Chicago Bears, and personally what I would do would be attack one of the safeties. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is the pick at number 25 overall.
So EMW, who I think it's closer than people think between him and Thieneman. Now, Thieneman's faster, especially as a straight-line speed guy, but EMW is a longer athlete, which can be the difference in making some plays on the football at times. Does come from a smaller school, Toledo, the MAC, but Toledo has a pretty good history at this point of pumping out pros, and 2, I just think he's a pretty rangy guy who can do some different things. He's willing to play in the box, so I would not hate this at all. I mean, you pair him with Kobe Bryant on the back end in your defensive secondary. I think at 25, it's pretty good value because, like I said, a lot of these mocks now has him gone by then. So, I would be pretty happy if this is the pick that ended up falling into place because then you just attack day 2 and you just continue hammering away BPA and maybe some trenches picks because that second starting safety is kind of the one clear starting job that you don't have plugged. So if you could get that nailed here, that would certainly be a huge win.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot to like with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Certainly, right, he's a first-round caliber prospect. He is just violent. Violent in terms of how he attacks the run, how he attacks ball carriers, how he attacks passes in the air. 9 career forced fumbles for Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Peanut punch, baby. Let's go.
Peanut punch. He loves using that peanut punch. He's aggressive. I think he plays faster than what he tested, which he didn't have the greatest RAS score. Still a really good athlete. I don't think he's anything that's going to be lacking, so to speak. But you mentioned it. Safety is just that one position that if it's there for the Bears at 25, I'd be hard-pressed to pass up if it was available.
Yeah, and I think this would be around a BPA situation. It may not be like if Caleb Downs fell or something like that, but, I think a lot of big boards around the NFL with these draft analysts have EMW as a top 20, top 25 guy. I think Daniel Jeremiah actually has EMW one spot ahead of Dylan Thieneman. Both are in his top 20. That's a guy who I respect a lot. So, yeah, if you told me they ended up with EMW in the first round, I'd certainly be pretty happy. All right, let's keep it rolling here, Cullen. Pick 57, so no trade again, it looks like here. A guy that you like, one of your other draft crushes you revealed recently, and someone who I'd be a fan of in this 57-60 cluster for the Bears as well, Derek Moore, the edge out of Michigan, the selection at 57.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, okay, you get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That solves a clear need. It's a hole on your roster. And I think he would have been the best player available based on how the board fell. Well, Dennis Sutton, ironically, was not there. Nor was Gabe Akis. But Derek Moore was. And if you're able to get one of those edge pass rushers who we've kind of talked about with Derek Moore, he's been a really productive player for the Michigan Wolverines. I think he's top 8 in terms of sack production during his time at Michigan. He's just a guy that he's got the long arms that Dennis Allen likes. He's just a shade under 6'4", and he has the production. And not only that, he got better from 2024 to 2025. All reasons to like Derek Moore. He plays not only as a pass rush role, but can set the edge. I think there's a lot of reasons to like Derek Moore.
Yeah, when I compare Derek Moore to Dennis Sutton, there's a lot of overlaps in their game. I think Derek Moore is a little more polished as a pass rusher, and I think Dennis Sutton is a little more sturdy defending the run, but they can both do both. Now, I think Derek Moore has a slightly better chance of being a guy that pushes for double-digit sacks at some point in his career than Dennis Sutton. So I've said it for a few weeks now. Between Akis, Moore, and DDS, if one of them gets to this 57-60 cluster, I would just take him. Now, that depends potentially on what you do in the first round. Like, you're probably not taking TJ Parker, Zion Young, Keldrick Falk, then Derek Moore, unless it's just an obvious BPA situation on their big board. But to me, those three guys in your second-round cluster, I like them all. I think they all play the run well. They all have upside as a pass rusher. The more I've done some data digging stuff, in today's NFL, a lot of these teams are countering the two high safety looks with just running the football more, especially outside zone behind the tackles. Well, you need guys who can set the edge in the run game. Moore can do that. So like the pick, pretty local guy playing there in the Big Ten at Michigan, had the sack production, good against the run. So, yeah, I got no qualms with this one. I think, again, he's one of the three guys I like as an edge defender in this 57-60 cluster for the Chicago Bears.
Fair enough. All right, next up, we got a trade.
Oh, baby, let's do it.
So, with the Chicago Bears, there wasn't really anybody that I necessarily loved at pick 60 that was on the board. So, I actually looked and I said, okay, who are some teams that could look to trade back? And one team that intrigued me, and it was a bit of a trade down, going from 60 to 75, was the Miami Dolphins. However, we were able to kind of work things out in terms of the draft trade chart, use the Rich Hill trade chart, and was able to pick up an additional 2 third-round picks for the Chicago Bears in exchange for 60. You did have to give up a 4th-round pick, and you also get a 7th-round pick back. But I think overall this is something that if you're the Bears, you're still sticking in that kind of range where a lot of players can contribute, have value. And I think adding 2 third-round picks, although you do lose a 2nd-round pick, if you don't love the value there, it's a pretty good consolation.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, now you got 75, 89, and 94. Sure, you don't have a 4th, but to me, like, day 2 is kind of the sweet spot of this draft. Early into the 4th round, but 129, you're getting later into the 4th. So don't mind that swap. You get an extra selection there in the first 2 days overall. So I think that's the difference between 60 and 75 isn't that large, but the difference between 94 and 129 could be pretty decent, actually. So I think this is a pretty good trade. Okay, we'll see who Cullen selects coming up, but get yourself a Bear Claw Selly shirt, one of the Bears' great picks last year. Shout out LB. Chatsports.com/LB10. Link is in the comments and description. Navy, black shirts available. Go check them out. To those who have purchased already, we greatly appreciate it. It's another way to support the show and get yourself some cool Bears gear. So chatsports.com/LB10. All right, so dropping to 75. Ooh, this is a fun one. I think Bears fans will like this. Grayson Holton, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. I think he's one of those, Cullen, where it's like you'd be okay with him at 57 or 60, but in a trade back scenario, you probably like it even more. I definitely think a Dennis Allen fit here.
Yeah, I think he's somebody that's a lighter defensive tackle who I think is going to give a lot of good contribution, as a pass rusher, and certainly has his pros and cons. But to your point, I didn't love him there at 60. But if I was able to trade back and still able to get him at pick 75, he was a pretty obvious kind of pick for me. I think he's somebody that, to your point, fits Dennis Allen's kind of vision for the defensive tackle spot, and he's got the production over these last couple of seasons. And we've talked about it with some of the potential guys that the Bears were going to look at early on in the draft process. A lot of them just don't have what you like in terms of overall production, the relative athletic score, and how they fit in Dennis Allen's defense. I think Grayson Holton's going to be a good version of that as a third rounder.
To me, I'll put it this way for the chat people watching. Would you rather take Peter Woods at 25 or Grayson Holton at 75? I think Peter Woods is a better prospect than Grayson Holton, probably a better run defender, and the ceiling certainly higher. But is he 50 picks better? I don't know that he is. Especially how he played this last year. 8.5 sacks for Holton the last 2 years. Oklahoma rotated a lot on that defensive line. I think he can come in here, compete with former Oklahoma Sooner, ironically, Neville Gallimore for snaps to be that DT3 as a rookie. I think he could develop into a long-term starter. Remember, Javon Dexter's not under contract after this year, so depending on how he plays, Grady Jarrett could be a cut candidate after this year. So even though the Bears did add some depth rotation pieces at defensive tackle in free agency, if the right guy is available at the right time in the draft, I think they could take one. And I think Grayson Holton, from a stylistic of play and measurement standpoint, does kind of fit in the Dennis Allen mold where a lot of defensive tackles in this draft don't. So trade back, get them. I think that's pretty good. And you still have a couple third-round picks to go here at 89 and 94.
Absolutely. So moving on to pick number 89, and I think we have another one that hopefully Bears fans will like.
Okay.
Malik Muhammad, the cornerback out of the University of Texas. We've kind of talked about it a little bit where outside corner could be a sneaky kind of position where the Bears look to target during this NFL draft. And Malik Muhammad, to me, is kind of on the back end of a really good kind of front day 2 plus into round 1, obviously, cornerback crop that I kind of looked at him when he was on the board and said, okay, if you are going to go this route, you're going to go now versus on day 3 in terms of guys that I like. And I think there's a lot to Malik Muhammad's game that Bears fans should like and that should enjoy. He's a guy that is long, rangy, definitely has kind of the physical attributes that you're looking for in an outside corner. And he graded out pretty well in coverage last season for the Texas Longhorns. Allowed about a 60% completion percentage in coverage, only 168 yards, had 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. I do think that this draft has notably been defensively heavy, but I think that's where the Bears need to attack this draft, in my opinion. And I think if they were to go the first 4 picks as defensive players, I wouldn't mind it whatsoever.
Yeah, I think you've gotten good value with all these picks, too. Muhammad's an interesting one. I feel like he's one of those guys that some people really like. Some guys would pound the table for him in the second round, and then sometimes it's like, oh, he's sitting there in the 4th round in some mock drafts. So, interesting player. I do like him in this system because I think he's got that kind of dog mentality. Hey, if you're asking me to play on an island sometimes, I can do that for you. To me, this is like a bring him in here and okay, Tyreek Stevenson, Malik Muhammad, make the best man win. You got Terrell Smith and Zay Frazier as depth pieces behind him. If one of those guys surprises you, great. And you kind of just roll with that competition at CB2. And I think you can live with that. I think you have enough options there where someone will emerge to be that starting corner outside of Jalen Johnson. So definitely like this. I've said if he's there at 89, that's good value. Obviously, you ended up picking up a couple extra thirds with these trades. So, yeah, I think that's I'm not trying to agree with everything you're doing, but, I like what you're doing so far. I'm very curious to see if you go 5 for 5 defensively here. You got one more pick on day 2 before we get to day 3, which I guess at this point is just 7th-round picks unless you trade again. So, well, there you go. So, Cullen's trading again, so buckle up. This is ironically close to our fan-led mock draft.
That's why
trade.
whenever the the Cleveland Browns came up, it was kind of interesting. So I ended up trading from the 94th pick that I obviously acquired in a previous trade. I traded back into the 4th round, also picked up an additional 5th-round pick, 107 and 149. Just had a couple of areas that I wanted to also attack for the Chicago Bears that I feel like I could do better with 2 picks. And again, traded down, only dropped down 13 spots. So I thought this was pretty good value there.
Yeah, in our fan-led mock, we traded back 89 to 107 and 146 because the Browns have 146 and 149. So pretty similar there. The draft points are going to check out pretty much the same. So trade back here. Now you got a 4th and a 5th to work with before the 7th round trio. So let's see. What do you got for me early in the 4th round, Mr. Cullen Brown?
We've got another one of my draft crushes. I'm going with Logan Jones, the center out of the University of Iowa.
Like it.
Yeah, I've talked about this guy ad nauseum, but just to kind of reiterate, I do think he is kind of more of a developmental center who ironically has been kind of rising up draft boards to where he might go in the 3rd round. I mean, he's kind of in that 3rd, 4th round kind of tweener range, but a lot to like here with Logan Jones. Obviously took over for a Tyler Linderbaum, who obviously left a really good legacy at the University of Iowa. Originally was recruited as a defensive lineman, made the switch over to center, and along with him and Bo Stevens, helped kind of lead that Iowa offensive line to being ranked the best offensive line in the nation last year in college football. So I think if you're able to kind of pick and parse an Iowa offensive center that you can develop behind Garrett Bradbury, especially, having him sit and learn, maybe, kind of build up his NFL body into year 2 in 2027, I think it would be an ideal kind of way to look at it from a Bears perspective.
The interesting thing about Jones is I think a comp for him is someone like Garrett Bradbury, a guy who's a little undersized, like a lot of modern centers are, someone who moves really well. I haven't, spoken to Logan Jones or anything like that, but multi-year starter at Iowa, a program with a history of offensive linemen. I would guess he's a pretty smart player. That's kind of what Garrett Bradbury is known for. His cerebral game has made him a starter in this league for a while because, his physical attributes are kind of average. And, Logan Jones, I think, is similar. A guy who can move really well. I would imagine a pretty smart player. Yeah, you get those 330-pound defensive tackles, like some one-on-one pass pro reps could look rough at times, but develop him for a year. If he's ready, takes over in 2027. I think worst case scenario, 4th round, Cullen, you probably got a pretty good backup for a while. So, definitely like it. I've seen mocks with him going in the 3rd. So give him in the 4th. Live chats, they're saying you're cooking. The grill is hot in these mock draft streets for Cullen Brown right now. So he's made some good picks. So no 129 because that was part of that Dolphins trade, but we do have that 5th rounder. So who do we got the Bears taking here in the 5th as we kind of get to the latter picks of this mock? J.C. Davis, interesting selection. I think a left tackle the last couple years at Illinois. You get him at 149 overall, so don't go left tackle early in this draft, but still a developmental guy who's played a lot of ball. Who knows? Maybe he competes for that left tackle job.
No doubt, and I think that is kind of a sneaky need for the Bears. Ultimately, I just didn't find the value in terms of a tackle that I could have potentially gone with earlier in the draft, so I still wanted to potentially get one to kind of work in that mix with Jedrick Wills, with Braxton Jones, and somebody that was also flexible. And I think J.C. Davis is somebody that can be flexible for Chicago. Dane Brugler, I thought, wrote a really good piece on J.C. Davis, so I'll read it here real quickly for you. Davis is a stocky, strong blocker with smooth movements and a basic understanding of how to create leverage using his length. Leverage is something that is so key for offensive linemen early. Like, if you can understand that, a lot of things just kind of seem to fall into place with offensive linemen. With continued tweaks to his game, he could offer NFL offense quality depth at either tackle or guard.
Okay, I like that.
That flexibility, Harry, I think, depending on what you want to do in terms of, Joe Thuney and, this whole entire offensive line for next season with the uncertainty of Ozzie Trapillo, I think J.C. Davis on day 3 would be a really interesting option to kind of throw in a left tackle mix. I don't know if you would get any reps necessarily early on, but you're always looking for depth, and you're always looking for guys that can maybe look to develop into starters. I think J.C. Davis could be an interesting guy for Chicago.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he have a pretty good Senior Bowl?
Yes.
So, I feel like after the Senior Bowl, people are like, could he sneak into day 2? And maybe that's cooled a little bit. and maybe part of that is the testing was kind of average.
Right.
But he has over 34-inch arms, over 10-inch hands. I think hand size with offensive alignment is an underrated measurement. Like, if you got those big paws, you get your hands on someone, it's pretty tough for someone to get off. Still 7.26 in the RAS. The running drills, he was well above average in the 7s across the board. So, yeah, he's played a lot of ball. I think a multi-year starter at Illinois. Obviously, the Bears, he's in their backyard. They'd have a decent look. And think about this, too, for Chicago. Braxton Jones, 1-year deal. Jedrick Wills, 1-year deal. Theo Benedict on his 1-year ERFA contract. Karan Amagaji probably getting cut. So, yeah, you have a lot of depth on your O-line right now. And to your point, he probably wouldn't start, at least probably not right away at left tackle. But worst case, he is in the mix as a backup. And next season, you're probably going to need to replenish some of that depth because you're probably not going to have all these guys back. So, I don't mind this at all for someone who can come in. Outside shot to compete for a starting job, but if nothing else, develop, get in the Dan Rochar school, and, maybe he becomes a starter down the road. Braxton Jones was a 5th-round pick once upon a time. He started over 40 games for the Bears. So maybe the same could happen with J.C. Davis.
No doubt. All right, so the last 3 picks, they're all 7th-rounders. So we won't spend as much time on them, but I still want to just kind of go over them really quickly. Went wide receiver with my first 7th-round pick. Tyron Montgomery, the wide receiver out of John Carroll University.
Was he the Shrine Bowl guy? Who was kind of dominating?
He was Senior Bowl. He
Senior Bowl? Okay.
Took Chris Johnson, who I really like out of San Diego State, to school on a couple of reps. He's
okay. I like that.
He's underrated prospect. He's trying to become the first John Carroll draft pick in the NFL since 1991. He's got a really unique story. I'm just going to run through it really quick. Former basketball player that originally tried to walk on at LSU to be playing for their basketball team, obviously there at LSU. Had to return home due to his mother, unfortunately, contracting an illness. She unfortunately passed away June 2025. Decided that, he was still wanting to pursue an athletic career. Enrolled at Lone Star College in Texas.
Okay.
And then eventually wanted to try to get back into football. He seemed to find his football. He then he then went to play Division II football at North Greenville in South Carolina and really started to kind of pick it up there. He initially attempted to walk on at Houston there in 2021. He's bounced around all these different places. Didn't have any spots. Instead, he put highlight tapes of himself catching passes on the air to get noticed. A flag football organization out of Miami invited him to join its team back then in 2022. And then he drew interest from a D2 school, Nicholls State, in FCS. He had to unfortunately sit out the first season due to his academics. He worked through 2023 and wanted to have continued eligibility, but the NCAA said you have no more Division I eligibility. So he then transferred to Division III John Carroll.
Okay.
There's a bunch of NFL pipelines with London Fletcher, Don Shula, Josh McDaniels, a lot of connections on that staff. And Montgomery at the Division III level just put on an absolute clinic to where he got that Senior Bowl invite and did not disappoint. So all that to say, he's a sleeper, but that's who you take in round 7. I think he'd be a really interesting option for the Chicago Bears.
To your point of the bouncing around, the journey, all that, going to be 25 in July, so older prospect. But, again, 7th round, dominated the D3 level, showed what he could do at the Senior Bowl. So, I would not mind a flyer here in the 7th round. You also go running back in the 7th round, so you're kind of throwing flyers at some of those secondary needs here for the Bears to add some depth competition. Desmond Reed, the running back out of Pitt.
Yeah, very twitchy, very fast. He's only 21 years old, so not nearly as old as Tyron Montgomery. The only thing about him is he is 5'6". He is on the shorter size.
Come on, Tariq Cohen, let's go.
Exactly. Darren Sproles comparisons, Tariq Cohen, all that stuff. He's got really good explosiveness, does offer special teams versatility as well, so I think somebody that can contribute. He's also willing, to pass block on 3rd down. That being said, at 5'6", how much can you contribute? Limitations, exactly. But I do think he's somebody that could be interesting. Had over 966 yards in 2024. Was limited in Pittsburgh last season and only 6 games played. But I think as a 3rd down potential option, he'd be a really interesting fit in Ben Johnson's on.
Pulled him up real quick. He has a punt return touchdown in each of the last 2 years, so he's got some return ability. Also, the last 2 years combined, Cullen, 896 receiving yards on 75 catches. So to your point, like, especially as a rookie, is he probably one of your top 2 guys? No, but could he give you 10 to 15 snaps a game? You design a couple plays for him, maybe he pops a play or 2 throughout the season? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. If he has special teams value, maybe he's a guy who pushes a guy like Roschon Johnson off the 53. That would probably be a competition for that RB3 role.
No doubt about it. And then the final 7th-round pick, 241, went with Carson Ryan. Really good blocking tight end out of the University of BYU. You need, obviously, that third tight end on the roster after Durham Smythe left the free agency. And I think Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland are obviously the 2 stud tight ends that you're going to look at for this offense moving forward. You still need someone to kind of do the dirty work. Carson Ryan, to me, is somebody that would be willing to do that. He graded out really well as a pass and run blocker last season. I think he'd be a perfect fit for Chicago.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Durham Smythe, I'm looking at last year, he played, it looks like, over 200 snaps. So, like, that's not some, like, tiny role. Like, they're going to use 12 and 13 personnel quite a bit. So, whether it's Steven Carlson, a draft pick, or a free agent after the draft, somebody's got to be that tight end 3. And I think there's probably 5 or 6 guys in this draft that I think you could find on day 3 that could come in and do that role. So,
no doubt about it.
There you go. Chat seems to be loving your mock. If you want to recap it real quick, Cullen, you ended up with 9 picks. So trading around a little bit and still getting some solid additions and plugging some holes as well.
No doubt about it. Just running through it, all 9 draft picks. At Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo, first round. Get Derek Moore, the edge out of Michigan, who I really like in the second. After some trades, we got Grayson Holton, 3rd round at number 75 overall. Malik Muhammad come in at corner out of the University of Texas at 89 overall. Logan Jones, the developmental center, there in the 4th. Moving on to the 5th, where you get J.C. Davis, who could be that guard tackle, kind of flex hybrid, contribute on the depth. And then 3 7th-rounders in Tyron Montgomery, Desmond Reed, and Carson Ryan, all of whom I think have roles in the league. We'll see if they can stick on NFL rosters or not. But, yeah, those are my picks.
There you go. Grade Cullen's mock draft for the Chicago Bears. I'm not trying to hype up my guy, but I think it's pretty good, man. I don't really have any qualms. I mean, from an opinion standpoint of what I think will happen, I think they're going to take a skill player earlier than what we're thinking. It's just Ben Johnson. Like, I feel like it's going to happen at some point. But I also don't feel like any of these picks were, like, reaches either. So, like, I think combination of loading up on defense, going BPA, get a guy who you can throw into that offensive line mix with Davis. So I feel good about it. I'd give it a high grade. You guys let me know. Let us know down in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Cullen, too, for the draft crushes once again. 2 straight years, 20 guys. We'll see how many the Bears end up with. His first draft crush last year was Kyle Monungai, and the Bears drafted him. So we'll see if they get one or multiple of his guys this year. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button for more content, and bear down. A lot of A's, man. The chat's hyping you up there. Jason Morse isn't happy. He gave you a C, but
can't make everybody happy.
Good grades, man.
I appreciate
thought that was pretty good.
Thought it was
good stuff.
Yeah, thought it was definitely a very good draft in terms of how things fell, given
a lot of it's out of your control. You never know how it's going to fall.
So, but I appreciate all the kind words down below.
Let's go.
There we go. We did get some super chats there. We were kind of between the mock drafts and everything, so we'll go ahead and flash those here.
Rip through these, then we'll sign off. Shout out to Will Edwards, $2. Appreciate it. His Dolphins trade. 25 for 30 and 90.
This is when I mentioned that the Dolphins could be trading for.
I would do that. I don't know if in this draft, if you're getting that to move down 5 spots. Normally, that may not even be enough in the first round, but and we'll see. You never know how accurate the reporting is going to be, Cullen, but it just seems like this is not a strong, like, the offseason's been a strong seller's market, but I think the reason for that is teams don't love this draft. So, to me, I'd probably do that today before the draft even gets here. Like, pick up an extra top 100 pick to move down 5 spots. I'm probably getting a very similar player at 30 than I am at 25. So Yeah, I mean, I'd be up for it. I don't know if the Dolphins would. Carter Brock, trade with Jets, offer 25 and 60 for 30, 44. We did end up doing that in the fan-led mock draft, so I think that works out pretty good. Prometheus, based on last year's draft, are we confident? I think should be. I mean, you got two guys that have big-time potential and have already shown to be good contributors in Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. It took some time, but Ozzie Trapillo, by the time he got rolling, I mean, at minimum was a starting caliber left tackle. Now, we'll see what his future is with this nasty injury, but even if he doesn't come back the same, that's not on the Bears. That's just a fluky deal. I think for like the 60th pick or whenever they got him, he was looking like a guy who was going to be a good left tackle. Shamar Turner, we'll see, coming off the ACL. Jury's still out there. I'd say underwhelming at first, but I also would add that, trenches guys, it takes a year or two a lot of the time. Monungai in the 7th. So, yeah, I mean, I think the first Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson draft together, for the most part, was pretty good. Obviously, Ruben Hippolyte's not looking great, but you're not going to hit every pick. Luke Newman in the 6th, I think, is a good backup. So, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. Brad says, what do you think of Cole Wisniewski, the safety? He's the Texas Tech guy, right?
Texas Tech, yeah.
He's one of those sleeper guys. A lot of guys bring him up. Like, if I'm watching other shows, draft shows, like, who's a sleeper? I feel like he's a name that gets mentioned a lot. I don't know where he's going to go, 5th or 6th?
6th or 7th, yeah. Like, he's a day 3 guy for sure. I looked him up. Dane Brugler had this on him. Wisniewski is tatightly wound as an athlete and at his best near the line of scrimmage, where he can use a short area instincts and reliable tackling, providing depth in the box and impacting special teams are his tickets to a pro career. Valuable, somebody that obviously is a backup safety or somebody that contributes on special teams. You obviously want sure-handed tacklers. So definitely a draftable guy for sure.
Welke, thoughts on Harold Perkins Jr.? I would stay away. I get the intrigue with him. His freshman year at LSU was unbelievable. I don't like guys that popped early and never found it again. Now, I will say with Perkins, I think LSU's coaching has been pretty freaking bad the last few years. Yeah. Brian Kelly, forget losing his fastball. He lost every pitch in the chamber. Like, it's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what he is. I don't think he can cover well enough to be an every down linebacker in the NFL. His best role was as like a blitzing linebacker who occasionally lined up at edge, but he's not big enough to be an edge rusher. So, like, what is he? Is he a third down blitzing linebacker? Right. I mean, if he can do that and play special teams, like if you want to take him in the 4th round or something, fine. But, like, I don't think he's an every down player. And so, to me, that's a day 3 guy. He's had some injuries, too. Like, it's a bummer because he was unreal as a freshman, but he has just not been the same. Maybe a coaching staff with the right vision. Like could a Brian Flores get him going again? Maybe. But he doesn't cover well enough for me, and he's not big enough to be a consistent, edge.
Yeah.
I think he's a situational blitzing linebacker.
I think consistency is the main word with him. Like, if he can ever find a way to harness and have good stretches upon stretches of good play, he can become something. He has the athletic tools to become an NFL linebacker that plays all 3 downs. He just hasn't been quite able to keep it all together.
It feels like as a freshman, he just, he was so good because he was so freaking athletic. And then, a combination of a couple things happened. One, I think LSU did not have a clear plan of how they wanted to use him. And 2, I think teams had that offseason figured out, okay, this is what he does well. This is what he doesn't do well. And so they mitigated what he does well by attacking his weaknesses. And himself, with the combination of LSU's lack of a plan, never really got him back to, okay, how can he get back to being a highly – I mean, he was so good as a freshman. People were talking about him for Heisman. I don't know if you remember that. It was crazy.
Yeah, but he was getting unreal.
But we're years removed from that. So
very much so.
Yeah, he's a tough eval because his highs are incredible, but it's just how often we've seen it the last 2 or 3 seasons has been nothing compared to what we saw when he was an 18-year-old freshman. Hunter Young, appreciate the 5. How many coaches would you take over Ben? Someone asked this recently. I mean, if you're just ranking him as a best coaches in the NFL outside of a Bears lens, he'd probably land between 10 and 15. But for the Bears specifically right here, right now, I don't think I'd take that many guys over him. if I'm listing out coaches just in the league, I'd probably list like Jim Harbaugh higher. But would I take him for the Bears right now over Ben Johnson? No, I wouldn't. So, like, it's kind of hard to, like, if I'm doing it from a Bears lens, I think that list is pretty short, Hunter. He's a young, offensive, innovative guy that you've paired with a young, talented as hell quarterback. Like, I don't know how many guys I would take over him given the Bears' current situation, which sounds crazy, but, like, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I guess you would take, like, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, who also fall into that bucket of young, smart offensive guys who have proven more as head coaches, like a few other guys. You know, like, I'm not taking Mike McCarthy over Ben Johnson. I'm not taking D'Amico Ryans over Ben Johnson. Hell of a defensive coach, but I don't want a defensive coach with my number one pick at quarterback. So, yeah, the list is pretty short. I mean, I'd have to sit down and really think about it, but I don't think it's very long. Brad went to high school with Cole Wisniewski. That's why oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I think he'll get drafted. I don't know where. I don't know who. I don't know if the Bears have any interest, but I think he gets drafted. I've seen him on a lot of those, like, sleeper lists. So, all right, anything further? You good?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. If there's no breaking news, we'll be back live Thursday. TBD what time. I'll try to get that finalized with the staff tomorrow so we can tease it more. But company-wide mock draft. I'll be making the Bears picks. Cullen will be producing. He'll also be submitting the Jags picks, day 2, day 3. Might work the phones behind the scenes to work on a trade or two. We'll try to make that happen just to kind of have fun with it. But stay tuned for that. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks to you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys next time here on Chicago Bears Now.